We really felt that there was an opportunity to create a beer company that spoke to a broader audience beyond a typical craft drinker, who we endearingly refer to as the beer bro.
You can never know too much about who your customer is. Here's how one Brooklyn brewery entered the crowded beer industry by turning to market research and focusing on an overlooked demographic.
Talea is known for fun, fruity, sour beers, along with beautiful spaces.
Totally on trend. The beer industry is moving away from traditional beer styles, from regular hops and regular pilsners, to more interesting and more unique flavors.
We are New York City's first and only female-founded brewery, and we are here to expand the craft beer market.
That's a big plus. Anytime you have a backstory where you can differentiate yourself as an owner, as an owner's story, something that separates you from an incredibly competitive field, that's a huge opportunity.
We both loved craft beer. Tara and I met at a startup here in New York City. This is a beer e-commerce startup. So we had both kind of taken our steps from our more traditional corporate careers into craft beer. And within 3 months of knowing each other, we had formed the entity that's now Talea. When you start a new company, you should always have a problem in mind, a problem that you're trying to solve for someone.
Why should you exist? Why would your business be different than any other business similar to it? Those are the questions you need to answer before you put your first dollar and your first brow of sweat into this opportunity.
A lot of craft beer brands are very sporty, and some craft beer brands are very misogynistic in an overt way. So it felt like there was just clearly a gap in the market in terms of the packaging and the way the brand was speaking to consumers from the shelf, trying to get into their shopping cart. I started with a hypothesis that women were not being attended to by craft beer because that was how I felt as a customer of craft beer.
When we were, first testing our hypothesis out in the market before we had our own spaces, 9 out of 10 times we would convert women. And it's the best feeling because they haven't been spoken to. No beer companies are trying to expand craft beer to this consumer.
Testing any food business, any food product is incredibly important. You can't over-test. And in fact, you have to test correctly. You need to find an independent testing opportunity where you're testing it on a broader market of people that don't know who you are and get real, honest responses to the product.
We did a lot of market research.
Market research is understanding the behavior of specific market groups related to what your product offers, trying to find out the level of interest in that particular product and how it might translate into sales. Everything is incredibly competitive. You have to have every strategic advantage. The more you can research who your market is, the more you can scientifically analyze what those people's behavior is, the more opportunity you have to beat all of these competitors that are in the marketplace.
And research did show that despite the craft beer drinker being 70% male and 30% women, those 30% of women, 72% of them felt that craft was treating them as an afterthought and were frustrated by that.
A lot of market research is based on money as much as it is on time. To buy market research from some of the companies that actually produce it can be quite expensive. It can cost thousands of dollars. That is part of the opportunity cost of getting into business. You can certainly do market research in a matter of a few weeks, a relatively short time. The question is, do it until you feel you have enough data, either pro or con, to justify or change the product idea that you have.
When we were building our original business plan, our first concept was, let's make one beer, and the holy grail would be getting it on the shelf at Whole Foods. But seeing the amount of overhead that's required to operate a brewery of our scale, as well as the overhead around marketing and promotions and, HR, all of those costs really need to be covered by more tap rooms.
To make a profitable business, we needed to build a brewery of our own and build tap rooms through which to sell the beer.
Our Williamsburg location, which is our flagship brewery, it's our production facility, it's also our first tap room. That was about $2 million for the construction side of things and our architect. It was another 600-ish thousand for all of the brewing equipment.
Okay, I want to stop there one sec. She hasn't mentioned what's called soft costs. And the soft costs can be an extremely important and expensive part of the business, which includes things like pre-opening payroll. That can be 20 to 30% of the entire investment. Often, beginning operators don't include that in their early calculations.
This year, we're on track to brew around 7,000 barrels. Of that, 75% of that volume will go out the door with our distributor to hit restaurants, bars, and retailers around New York City. And the remaining 25% stays in-house and is sent to our various tap rooms for people to enjoy.
When you look at a financial snapshot of our business, right now, about 75% of our revenue and the majority of our profits are coming from our physical tap rooms. In our perspective, it's a great model because wholesale is a profitable marketing arm, and the more tap rooms you have, the more profit we can make because we're expanding the most profitable part of a restaurant, which is the bar, but we've also vertically integrated, so we're making all the beer ourselves.
Vertical integration is a huge plus. So she's integrating her systems where she's selling to as many clients as she can in as many different venues, which is exactly what you want to try to do. But running that operation is the challenge. You have to keep in mind, every food business is a manufacturing business, and manufacturing businesses are complex. They have issues in production, they have issues in process, they have issues in resources, they have labor issues. And each one of those has problems that need to be addressed on a daily basis.
Our end goal right now is just to keep going on this path and make the business as stable and healthy as possible so that we can continue growing in a sustainable way.
We're working on opening our 5th tap room. It's right across from Madison Square Gardens, and it's going to be our next foray into Midtown.
The concept behind this space is to invest a minimal amount, which for us is about 10% of what we've invested into other full build-outs here in the city. So it's really a trial run and really test the neighborhood before we make a full $1 million plus investment in building out a permanent space.
One of the things that's important when you expand a company is to realize that not everyone is going to respond the same way to your product. So if it does work, or if the sales are not quite the same or the profits not the same, they need to have the data of who those customers are, who those customers weren't, and why it was or was not successful.
Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. Try making a minimum viable product, try selling it, try getting feedback on it. Don't let yourself wait till you have the absolute perfect thing and the perfect packaging and the perfect name. That's never gonna happen. Sometimes you just need to start and get going.